Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, we're ready to get started.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. Good afternoon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is the calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested, excuse me, and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, or a possible plea offer if one has been made at this juncture by the state. Our reset date, Ms. Bridgewater?
It's February the 9th.
All right, February the 9th is our reset SAP date. I want to also begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. Govern yourselves accordingly. And there's my reminder. At the same time, good timing. Also, I want to let everyone know that there are, or the defendants know rather, that you do have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have a right to have representation at this stage in your case, and most of you do know who your attorneys are and who you're represented by. Also, you have a second constitutional right to remain silent. And remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, or the occurrence of your case can and will be held against you at a later date. This is a bond hearing. It is not your trial, but the prosecutors are here and they're listening. So listen to your attorneys and govern yourselves accordingly. All right, deputies, who do we have first?
Position number 2 at ACDC.
Okay. And that's Blake Burnham.
Correct.
Okay. This is case number 23CR000515B. Charged with 1 count of battery family violence. That offense date is January the 25th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see, from the state.
That's me, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. I should not have overlooked you. I'm sorry, Deputy.
No, it happens all the time. Don't worry about it.
You may proceed.
So the state's recommending on this case a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Miss Williams. Her first name is, my apologies, I thought I had it on my cheat sheet and I do not. So let me pull that up.
Okay.
So we are asking for 1 day anger awareness as part of her bond with pretrial services. So what occurred in this case is Miss Williams and the defendant are mother and daughter. And according to the information that we were provided by the police, Miss Williams stated her daughter got into the vehicle, asked for her iPad. Miss Williams asked the defendant for her iPad. Defendant threw it on the dash, which then hit Miss Williams. The defendant got out cursing and yelling, and Miss Williams stated as she walked close to her, the defendant struck her in the face with her phone multiple times, causing Miss Williams' lip to bleed. This then resulted in a, as it was described in the police report, as a tussle between the defendant and Miss Ashley Williams, and that's ASHLEE. That then resulted in Miss Williams suffering from a busted lip, a broken fingernail, small cuts on her fingers, and light swelling under her eyes. There was a security guard, Mr. Fowler, who stated that he observed Miss Williams walk toward the defendant, throw a punch, and then they began fighting. We have had a chance to speak with Miss Williams. She stated that they do live together, that she does not fear the defendant, who is 18 years of age, and things just got out of hand. So she has also requested that she wanted to return back home, given that the age of the defendant and the fact that this is her first offense, and some of the facts in the police report that tend to, I guess I would just say, lend some confusion about what exactly happened on this date. That is why the state is agreeing to a $5,000 signature bond on this case.
All right. Ms. McLeod, is this your case?
It is my case, Your Honor. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My client is 18 years old. She is a student at Clark Atlanta University. She is studying criminal justice. She strongly denies that she attacked her mom. She said she's merely defending herself because her mom is very aggressive and her mom attacked her, Your Honor. As pretrial has stated, this is my client's first arrest, and we don't anticipate any other arrests. She is on her way to get her degree in criminal justice and perhaps become a lawyer one day. So she doesn't plan to be in any trouble at all. So I would ask the court to give her a lower signature bond. I think $5,000 is very high, Your Honor. So if the court would lower it to maybe a $2,500 signature bond. And she does not live with her mom. She actually lives on campus.
And Your Honor, we set a signature bond that was sufficiently high enough to discourage the defendant from any kind of repeat behavior. But at the end of the day, she's signing her name to a piece of paper and getting released. Could mean $10,000 signature bond. It's her signature that will release her. No monetary funds will need to be placed.
I understand that, counsel. I'm just saying this is her first arrest, and she denies that she was the aggressor in any of this.
All right. I will agree to the signature bond. I am going to enter that signature bond in the amount of $5,000 so that Ms. Burnham understands the seriousness of the actions or the allegations that are alleged. And it is a signature bond, but we want to make sure that she doesn't come back or that we don't hear from her after this incident. Again, it's through pretrial per judge. And I believe at 18, she can do her or sign her own signature bond.
Is she in college?
She is in college at Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
And she also tells me that she's okay with no further violent contact, Your Honor, since it's
all right. And since she doesn't reside there, at least during the school year anyway, and hopefully by the summer, we'll see what goes at that point, if there needs to be any modifications to the bond. No further contact with her mother, Ashley Williams.
Is that no further contact at all, Your Honor? No further violent contact?
This happened yesterday. I'm assuming there's been cooling down, but if she doesn't need to, and I'm not for sure at 18 that she doesn't need any contact or financial assistance or any other assistance while in college, I'm going to order no further violent contact at this point. And I'm going to order that one-day anger awareness course. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I believe that is it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further.
Nothing from the state.
All right, thank you.
Position number 5, Freeman.
Okay. This is case number 23 CR 000-521B. Freeman, charged with 1 count of driving, fleeing, or attempting to elude a police officer, a 2nd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, actually 2 counts of willful obstruction. And then the 1 count of driving, fleeing, or attempted to elude, all with the offense date of October the 11th, 2022. And pretrial. First.
Right.
Oh, I see a message. Hold on a second. I don't need a cosigner on the previous case, pretrial?
No,
Okay,
I mean, you
All
said
right.
she's in college, so.
yes, okay. I just saw your chat. I had to remind me sometimes to look at the chat. All right, on this case with Freeman, you said it's first arrest.
Yes.
Okay, all right, go ahead, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. This incident occurred on October 11, 2022. Officers conducted a traffic stop at 834 Hank Aaron Drive Southeast on a black Nissan Altima, where there were 2 occupants in the vehicle. The officers tried to get the identification of the driver, and he stated he did not have his license, at which point Ms. Freeman, who was the passenger in that vehicle, told the driver to drive away. One of the officers was partially in the window of the vehicle at that time and was partially dragged by that vehicle. For that reason, the state is recommending a 1,500 total surety bond. That's $500 for each count, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time.
All right. PD Kim,
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Ms. Freeman, is 22 years old, and she is a single mother whose baby is only 1 year old. She does not get any child support. She has to work herself as a self-employed. She does hairs, and she also has a DoorDash driving. She's been doing that for 9 months, and she has a new job interview, actually was scheduled for today, and she is kind of sad that she is losing that opportunity. She has been here in Georgia for all her life. She graduated from high school successfully. And Your Honor, she has family members here in Georgia. We would like to request for a signature on bond, as she is recommended for unsecured judicial release. And this happened with a driver who was actually someone who she met to do dating through the Instagram, and it didn't work out well. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
Samsung. Which, okay. I was gonna say mute yourself, and I didn't know if you were here for this case or not. The person is Samsung. Can you put your name as to who you are so we will know what case you're here for? Otherwise, I might skip over you.
Yes, I'm here for Blake Burnham.
Okay, I think we've already heard that case. And that's the reason if you're on Zoom and you're a witness in a case, you need to at least put your name. If you don't put the defendant's name so that we'll know who you are. I did not know what you were here for or which case. So I apologize. We've already heard that case.
That
Okay,
is
I'm
correct,
sorry.
Your Honor. That was my case.
Right, I was having difficulties trying to get into Zoom.
And
All
Ms.
right.
Williams, she did receive a signature bond and no further violent contact with you. So she can still
Okay.
have contact, just not of a violent nature. And if you have any
Okay.
further questions, our victim advocate is here on the Zoom. So if you want to just chat with her directly, if you have any additional questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. We're back to Freeman.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, PD Kim?
Nothing further, Your Honor. This happened on October 11, 2022. That's it, Your Honor.
All right. All right. I'm going to order the $1,500 signature bond through pretrial. That will be $500 on each of the charges per judge.
She was recommended.
Okay. 1,500 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I believe that is it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further,
Nothing
Your Honor.
further.
Okay.
Position number 3, Carmichael.
This is 23 CR 0000522G. Terrence Carmichael, charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. The offense date is January 25th, 2023. Pretrial.
It's his 7th arrest. Last arrest was in October, simple battery, family violence. Let me get you that case number. I'll come back to it. Before that was August, criminal trespass. He pled no-lo to that in Clayton County. January of last year, failed to appear. Battery, shoplifting conviction, 2021 out of Cobb County. 2019, cruelty in the 2nd degree, that was dismissed. And 2019, suspended license. So he's on probation for the trespass he pled no-lo to. And got the open battery DV in state court, 22 CR 006-890G. I'm not sure about the victim.
I can help fill in some of those blanks.
By all means.
Thank you. So just for the court's edification, that 22 CR 006-890G case was against the same victim as in this case. That's Miss Kanice Reed. That is Kanice Reed, R-E-I-D. In that case, well, actually, let's jump to our present case. In our present case, this occurred on January 25th, 2023, which was yesterday at 5:44 a.m. That was at 579 Lyndhurst Drive, Southwest. Miss Reed stated she was sleeping and one of her children began crying and continued crying after she tried to give the child milk. They were apparently all laying on the bed. The defendant began yelling at her to get off the bed and put the child in a crib. The defendant then pulled her hair to get her off the bed. Once Miss Reed placed the child in the crib, the defendant then attacked her. According to Miss Reed, he choked her and punched her. The 3-year-old child, TC, was in the room when this occurred. I want to point out that when police arrived to the scene, based on the call, that Miss Reed came to the door with her shirt ripped. And the officer actually had to go ask her to put on a different shirt because her shirt was visibly ripped when he saw her. When questioned, the defendant's statement was that they were in a physical altercation and this was an issue between a husband and a wife and there is nothing wrong with it. So the problem that the state has here, and the reason why we are going to request the bond we're going to request, is that previous 22 CR case that involved a family violence battery did involve Miss Reed. Your Honor, Judge Mincy signed a bond on October 14th of 2022 in the amount of a $4,000 surety bond in this case. You also ordered a third-party transfer of the children, that he stay away from 579 Lyndhurst Drive, which was the address that he was located at during this case, and that he have no further contact with the victim, Ms. Kanice Reed. He has obviously violated 2 of those 3 conditions that Your Honor placed on him back in 2022. I will say that his bond was converted to a signature bond in November 15th of 2022 with those same conditions. So the judge who converted the bond to a signature bond kept those conditions in place, and he has still violated them. When we tried to contact the victim in this case, which we found to be particularly troubling, the defendant's mother answered the phone. We inquired whether we could talk to the victim. We were told that we could not, and that she would be available to speak on Saturday. So for obvious reasons, we have real concerns about witness intimidation here. We have very serious concerns that this defendant does not take the court's orders seriously. He was out of jail for all of 2 months when he committed a new offense against the same victim that he was told to stay away from and to stay away from the residence. So for those reasons, the state is asking for a $5,000 cash bond. We are asking for no further contact with Kenise Reed or TC, which is the 3-year-old child who is the witness to all of this. And we're asking for a stay away from 579 Lyndhurst Drive. 2 of these conditions, again, are just repeats of the conditions that he has already violated under the bond he is currently under.
All right. PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Carmichael is married, of course. He is 26 years old and he was born and raised here in Georgia. Your Honor, he has been having very difficulty financially. He worked as an independent contractor for the entertainment industry. However, he has not been able to get any job recently because of personal difficulties that he and his wife are going through. Your Honor, he graduated from college with a bachelor's degree. Right now, due to the financial hardships, he is qualified for our services. Public defender will continuously represent him even after today's bond hearing. And Your Honor, we would like to request for a $5,000 surety bond instead of cash bond, because even surety bond is actually no bond for him at this point. He has nobody else who can bail him out. We strongly prefer to have signature on bond, and yet due to the fact that he had histories with the same victim, we acknowledge that and we request for $5,000 good bond. Thanks, Your Honor.
Your Honor, can we also sound for Ms. Reed? I know that based on our conversation with the defendant's mother, that we weren't able to get in contact with her directly, but I'm wondering if she might be on the Zoom.
Is Miss Kenise Reed on the Zoom? Kenise Reed? Have an iPhone there. Don't know who that is.
Thank you.
All right. No worries. Let's see. Well, this case was before me back in October. So it always bothers me when they come back around so quickly to violate bond conditions. Just, I guess, coincidental that you get me again. So I'm certainly not going to order a surety bond. I'm going to enter the $5,000 cash bond. And hopefully this time, Mr. Carmichael, you'll stick to these bond conditions or you'll do them. I guess the end result is that you wind up back here at the Fulton County Jail. $5,000 cash bond, a stay away from 579 Lyndhurst Drive Southwest. No further contact, and I mean no further contact with Kenise Reed or the minor TC. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I guess that is all that I can order at this point. Anything else, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to clarify about cruelty to children, the 3rd degree, which is actually listed in the first page of the Odyssey, and yet it's not in the calendar. I want to make sure if it is going to be considered as an NOD or what is the status of that?
There was an NOD and we did send that to the jail.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And another thing, Your Honor, he has 3 children and they are 7, 3, and 8 months old. Can he have third-party transfer for 2 other children then?
They have different mothers?
No, same mother.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to order any visitation. Actually, I almost would want to include them. Maybe they just weren't home or in school at that time. The 8-month-old and the 7-year-old.
Yes,
What is the state's?
They were in the home at the time. The only child whose information we had was the 3-year-old child because they were the subject of the cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. The other two children, we do not have the names for, but honestly, in an abundance of caution, given the prior violations, we would ask that he just, at this time, there just be a complete stay away.
Right. All right. So we have a complete stay away. I'd like to add no visitation with any minor children between he and Miss Reed. Let me just add that, Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay,
All right. So that there would be no reason to go to that address, Mr. Carmichael. And unless you get a different or another court order, right now, I'm not gonna allow you to have any contact to see your children at all either. All right, that should conclude this case.
Position 4, Mr. Evans.
This is 23 CR 0000523C. Joshua Evans, charged with 1 count of battery against a female who's pregnant. Offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial, I think he said first arrest.
Yes. What's the SAP date?
the 9th of February.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on January 10th of 2023 over at the Magnolia Way Apartments at 874 Magnolia Way, apartment 1211. Justine Hurd, who is the pregnant partner of the defendant, stated that he strangled her between 8 and 8:30 p.m. that night. Her explanation to the police is that he came home in a bad mood, that he left, walked out of the front of the apartment. When she followed him, she asked what was going on, and she stated that he said, "You better leave me alone before I punch you in your shit." She then stated that the defendant grabbed her by the neck, began strangling her, that her head began moving back and forth. She said as a result of that, she fell on the steps. When she talked to the officers, she described her pain as a 15 out of 10. She had light scratches on her legs, but her leg was swollen so much that she was barely able to move it. When the police talked to her about if there were any previous incidents, she stated that in the 5 years that they have been together, these incidents have happened frequently. However, this is the first time she's called police. Ms. Hurd even went so far as to show the police head injuries that she had received from the defendant back in November of 2022. She also stated that she currently lives with her sister, but the defendant has been living with them off and on. At this time, Ms. Hurd is 9 months pregnant, and she gave birth to their child actually recently on the 16th. At the time of this incident, she was 9 months pregnant. She stated that they are in a relationship, they do not live together, and they share 2 children. I will state that she has drastically changed her stance on what happened that night, and that she denied basically anything happened on that evening, especially in regards to strangulation. I will say that that is a marked difference than what she was telling the police and what she showed the police as far as the pictures of her previous injuries at the hands of the defendant. And so the state does have some real concerns in this case, especially in regards for the safety of Ms. Hurd. She is a new mother, and having just given birth to a child, it puts her in a very vulnerable position where I don't, quite frankly, was in a vulnerable position before when she was 9 months pregnant and this happened. So the state does have some real concerns here, given those circumstances and given Ms. Hurd's statement to the police. We are asking for a $5,000 surety bond. We are asking for the defendant to stay away from 874 Magnolia Way, apartment 1211, that he have no further contact with Justine Hurd, and that he have 1-day anger awareness. Thank you.
All right, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Evans is 25 years old, and he was born and raised here in Georgia. And Your Honor, he is gainfully employed at airport detailing car. And also before that job, he also worked at FedEx airports. He completed up to 10th grade, and then he is continuously pursuing GED because of his two children he already has, 1 and 2 years old. My client has to be the one who provides financially. We would like to request for a signature on bond since this is his first arrest ever. Your Honor, this is first time that he's getting in trouble. We would like to request for a signature on bond so he can continuously take care of his minor children.
And Your Honor, our notes do say that Ms. Hurd would not be joining the Zoom today, but I would still like to sound for her.
All right. Is it Justine Hurd?
That is correct, Your Honor. Justine and Hurd is common spelling.
Okay. Anyone on the Zoom by the name of Justine Hurd?
Thank
All
you.
right. No problem.
Um,
I'm going, go ahead, Ms. PD Kim.
Yes, we have, thank you, Your Honor. We have no objection to stay away or no further contact, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to order a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order a stay away from 874 Magnolia Way. No further contact with Justine Hurd. And I believe that Magnolia Way was apartment 1211.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course. All right, anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Position 7, Mr. Merriweather.
Your
This
Honor,
is-
I apologize, but I would like to request for breakout room for this case. And there are one more case that I also need breakout room, the Peyton Luan case. I apologize for not mentioning earlier.
And I see on this Peyton case, there is Ms. Hunter. Are you here for that case?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you the victim in that case?
I am, and you should also have DeQuinton Roberts as well.
Let's see. Don't know. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Okay. And you're a victim as well, Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get a little more information, but we're going to handle that one next. Just want to know who I have on my Zoom call. Let me do the Merriweather case first. This is a theft by shoplifting. Is it imperative that we go into a breakout?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, who's my Zoom master today?
You want the history real
Okay.
quick?
Yes, let me do the history before we go in. Thank you.
What is this?
On number 7, Merriweather.
4 total. Last arrest was in September, failure to appear, Douglas County. 2021, Douglas County, simple battery, family violence. It says it was accused. April 2021, trespass, dead doctor out of East Point.
Your Honor, would you also like to hear the history for Peyton since we're going into a breakout room on Merriweather?
Yes, I'm sorry, pretrial, Peyton is first arrest.
Yes. If you give him a signature bond, he's 17, just so you know.
Peyton is 17, okay,
Yes. All right.
thank you,
And it's going to be myself and Miss Lewis.
okay. And just you, PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm all alone.
Okay, all right, my victims rather, the victims on the case, Mr. Roberts, is it? And Ms. Hunter will be back momentarily so that I can hear from you all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is this Mr. Merriweather?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Mr. Merriweather, we have spoken about your case, or discussed your case rather, in the breakout room. And I'm going to order a $1,500 surety bond. I'm going to order an MH eval. I'm going to order that you stay away from the 510 Center Street, which is the package store. Please do not go back there, Mr. Merriweather, else you'll end up back here in Fulton County Jail. That's 1,500 surety bond, 500 on each of the 3 shoplifting charges. I'm going to order and no further contact with Mr. Patel. And also no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons while on bond. All right. That should conclude your case.
Judge, who was that?
Merriweather, that was 7.
How much was that?
1,500 surety, 500 on each. Is your question about your bond, about the bond conditions, Mr. Merriweather?
Yes, ma'am. I just don't understand what it means to be a 1,500 bond. We'll let you know.
Oh, they'll explain that to you. A surety bond, you have to go through a bonding company.
Let me take a little bit. Position 9, Mr. Payton.
All right, I have 2 victims.
Also, his mother, I'm here too, Samika Livingston.
Oh, good, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And where's Mr. Roberts?
I'm here.
Okay. There you go. All right. We have discussed this case as well in the breakout. Sometimes when we have some sensitive issues to explain, we don't want to put that all across the universe on YouTube. But this is it Lawan? Is that how you pronounce his first name, Mom? Okay. Lawan Payton, 23 CR 000519A. He's charged with 2 counts of simple battery against a public school system employee. Glad we have you on, Ms. Livingston. I want to hear from the victims. And if you would like to address the court, I will hear from you before giving my final ruling. I have some ideas and we've discussed some things. Which of you would like to address the court first? Ms. Hunter or Mr. Roberts?
Yes, I am fine with addressing the court. I am Dr. Hunter, principal for North Metro GNETs.
Okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second, Ms. Hunter, I forgot. I'm going to swear both of you in at the same time. Raise your right hands for me. Do you all affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
All right, go ahead, Principal Hunter.
Yes, first I'd like to start off with talking a little bit about the program and then sort of kind of give a recap of the incident that occurred on January the 25th with Lawan Payton. So we are a GNETs program, and the GNETs programs, GNET stands for Georgia Network of Educational and Therapeutic Supports. So we provide comprehensive educational and therapeutic support services to students who exhibit intense social, emotional, and behavior challenges with severity, frequency, and duration for students that have that, as I said, frequency and duration, such that those provision of education and related services in the general education environment, that has enabled that particular student to benefit educationally based on the IEP. Specifically for Lawan, with the incident that occurred on January the 25th, because Lawan, he can choose to control his behavior when he wants to. So on January the 25th, when he entered the school building, he announced that he was on his quote unquote, and I'm saying in parentheses and using the verbiage that LaJuan used, he said, I'm on my fuck shit. And this is when he entered the building. You know, we have a protocol as soon as the students enter the building. You know, if they have a cell phone, we collect it. They go through the metal detector, and then they, you know, go to their classroom. So I heard over the walkie-talkie where there was a call for me to go to the back. So as I'm approaching the back, I'm on the telephone with staff members, and they're telling me that LaJuan was trying to pull down the box light, which is equivalent to the Promethean board. So by the time I entered the high school hallway, Mr. Roberts, which is our high school special education mathematics teacher, he is with LaJuan. LaJuan is in the hallway. I'm approaching the hallway with our curriculum support person, and I said, hey, LaJuan, what's going on? He said, I'm on my fuck shit day. I said, okay, so what's going to be our action plan? He said, I want to go to CI. The CI is our crisis intervention room, where if a student's behavior is revved up or their engine is revved up, they can go to that room where they actually calm down. And this is a room where there is no furniture in there so that students can't throw anything to hurt themselves or either hurt a staff member. So as we're going to travel to the crisis intervention room, Ms. Beasley, who's our school counselor, as well as Ms. Gregory, who's our lead teacher, they're in the hallway, and all of us approach and we enter into the crisis intervention room. So as we're in that room, LaJuan says, I'm on my fuck shit. I can do what I want to do. You know, he sort of kind of echoes and continues to say, there's nothing that you all can do to me. I do what I want to do. You know, I'm not going to get in trouble. My mama's going to come up here and get me. Nothing's going to be done to me. He tells Mr. Roberts, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. And as soon as he gets those words out of his mouth, he slaps Mr. Roberts. So as soon as he slaps Mr. Roberts, I said, wait a minute, now you're not going to. And as soon as I'm getting those words out of my mouth, he slaps me. And the level that he slapped me at, it was intense. And so as soon as he slapped me, the two individuals, the extra staff that were in there, which was the lead teacher and the counselor, which was Beasley and Gregory, they proceed to do a horizontal restraint and Mr. Roberts assist. So I walk out and I'm on the walkie calling for our school resource officer who was not present on the campus. So I go to the phone, dial extension 2000 to get a school resource officer. And at any rate, our school resource officer who wasn't on campus was at another school. She ends up coming on campus. So when I returned back to the CI, I learned that LaJuan has again, slapped Mr. Roberts. But to make a long story short, this is in my opinion, and we haven't had our manifestation meeting because typically any student is physically aggressive in the manner that LaJuan was aggressive. And based on the observation, because he could get to tell us even when he was being physically restrained that, hey, once you let me go, I'm still gonna slap you. I do what I want to do. Nobody tells me what to do. And he did actually act out on that again because he slapped Mr. Roberts. We have to have what we call a manifestation meeting, which hasn't been held. It was scheduled today. And I know, Ms. Livingston, you said your husband didn't give you that message. So we've scheduled that for Monday. So we have to talk about that behavior to determine if that student's ability relates to the infraction that occurred. And from there, we go to a tribunal. Because he to two students, and right now he does have 10 days of suspension. We just need to move forward with the manifestation, then go for the tribunal. I do have concerns of, safety for staff members as well as other students in the building. So I do have some reservation in regards to LaJuan physically being in the building. For my students and my staff members. I have some serious safety concerns and reservations in regards to him being in the building.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Hunter.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, anything to add? I think that's why we know Ms. Hunter is the principal, because she laid out a pretty good synopsis of. Yes. She did. All right. We'll give her credit, Ms. Hunter. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
And I know that's what you're trained to do. And so we do appreciate you. And I know that your jobs are hard. And I'm sure they are interesting to say the least, but I applaud you all for doing that job and trying to do the best job that you can under the circumstances. Anything else that you want to add, Mr. Roberts?
Yes, she pretty much summed it up well. I think I agree with her as far as like the concern with the safety concern with, because well, the one he really didn't show any like remorse or even attempt to just apologize or recognize. He was pretty much adamant about this. I did it. I don't care that I did it, and pretty much no remorse for his actions. So I think the safety concern is valid as far as like other staff members as well when they're trying to intervene or de-escalate when he gets revved up.
Mm-hmm. You've been his teacher how long, Mr. Roberts?
This is my second year with LeMoyne, so I had him last year.
Okay. All right. And I heard Principal Hunter mention the manifestation meeting on Monday. When are his 10 days up?
February the 8th.
Okay.
So it's first day started today, which is the 26th, and the 10 days are up on February the 8th. And everything is pending the outcome as well of the tribunal hearing.
Okay.
So we were initially slated for the manifestation meeting today, which did not occur. So that's been rescheduled for Monday at 9:30. And date is February the 8th, and that could change pending the outcome of the tribunal hearing. And I want to further echo and emphasize that, you know, LaJuan was very much so in control of those decisions that he made. And so I guess that's one of the things that I'm struggling with, the fact that there was a conscious choice in his words, which were verbal aggression over and over and over again, and then in his actions of the physical aggression to slap the teacher, you know, twice in the face with excessive force of those slaps, and then to have the excessive force of slapping the teacher with verbally articulating, making the threat, and then actually carrying that action out with being in the right mind and body and carrying that action out. It was choice.
And the tribunal is going to be held after the manifestation meeting?
Yes, that the manifestation paperwork has to be submitted as a part of the tribunal paperwork. So the tribunal paperwork has been submitted. So I have to wait and submit the manifestation paperwork, and then Atlanta Public School System will follow up with the parent as well as myself and provide the date for the tribunal hearing.
Okay. And I bet that will not happen before the 10 days are up.
I can't tell you. It could or could not.
Oh, okay. There's a slight possibility.
Yes,
okay.
I've seen it go both ways.
Okay. All right. Because we're trying to figure out what we will do. Am I hearing, and you all let me know that as part of the bond conditions, you do not want him back at the school?
Oh, yes, there are heightened safety issues, and with him being in the building.
Okay. Okay. Same with you, Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Anything else to add? And then I'll ask Ms. Livingston if you want to state anything before I give my ruling.
No, there's nothing further that I would like to add.
I just wanted to say that I disagree with Dr. Hunter as far as.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Livingston, did I swear you in? I think I didn't.
No,
I should have added you to it. I'm sorry. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Now, let me say this to you. This is not your manifestation meeting. This is not your tribunal. It's just on bond. So, and I get that you don't agree with what Ms. Hunter and Mr. Roberts have said. But as far as
I agree with your safety issue. That's not a problem with me. My issue is with her stating about his consciousness.
Okay. And that part I can't go into. Right. That part I can't go into or do anything about. And I would like to stick to the safety part and the safety for your son, as well as for the teachers and the principal and the administrators.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I will comply with him staying away from the school.
Okay. Okay. And that's exactly what I wanted. Certainly we want the best for your son, obviously. But I don't know that we can provide that or they can provide that in the interim. So we want to make sure that all parties and the school would be safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a signature bond of $3,000. And with that $3,000 signature bond through a pre-trial per judge, we're going to order a BHUT, which they will explain to you what that is, Ms. Livingston, so that there can be an evaluation or additional evaluation. And I also order this, and I'm saying this to you, Mr. Payton, is that there's no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and I apologize, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're on bond. And that is because, again, as your bond conditions, unless you've been prescribed medication, nothing beyond that, you are to stay away from the school, which is at 601 Bethel Street. Is that correct? $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from the school at Bethel Street, Oglethorpe, and no further contact with the victims, which would be Principal Hunter and Mr. Roberts. And so please, if you're, and you will be out on bond, Payton, Mr. Payton, you're not to go back to that school for any reason whatsoever. If you show up there, they will call the police and you'll be rearrested. You understand me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I will say if there's any work or assignments that Mr. Payton needs, I'm sure Mr. Roberts or Ms. Hunter will make sure that you get that, Ms. Livingston. I'm going to also order, and I don't know that I should. I think there was a request, ASG Lewis, for that one-day anger awareness course. I'm not going to order that at this time. I'm not going to do that. I don't know that that will be possible given the conditions. Anything else, council? I think that's all I'm going to order at this time.
Co-signer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. Livingston, you're able to co-sign for his signature bond, correct? I understand they state you just moved. So I'm going to waive the utility bills.
Okay.
Okay. And you will just go down to the jail with your ID.
Just need valid ID.
Yeah, you do have a valid picture ID?
I do.
Okay. All right.
When do I go there?
Good question. Deputies?
Oh, she can go now. I
She
mean,
can
he's not
go
gonna get
now in
out.
courtroom 2. I just didn't know about
No,
processing, but they may be able to process him sooner, but I'm not sure.
Judge.
I'm sorry?
She can go now, but he's not gonna get released now. But she
Right.
has to go to co-sign for the
I understand the process. I just wanted to know when I had to be signing it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me tell you something that is incorrect. I will listen to all those around me. And that is that you can go ahead and go now so that they will begin to process the paperwork. They need you there to do that.
Okay.
So that it won't be immediately, but hopefully they will be able to move as quickly as possible. So plan to go down and wait a little bit, but at least get the paperwork started for them.
No
Okay.
problem. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll,
Thank you very much.
Put the address in the chat. So
Okay.
she know where to go because it's not at
Yeah.
the front of the jail.
That's right. Are you able to
Around the
see the
corner.
chat, Ms. Livingston?
Yeah, the public defender, she sent the address to me.
Okay. Okay. All right, good. All right, if all minds are clear for the moment, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, good luck to all of you. Thank you. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
Position 8, Mr. Patterson.
All right, this is 23 CR 0000518F. Isaac Patterson, you're charged with 1 count of battery. The offense date is 12/20/2022. Pre-trial.
It's 9th arrest. He got history out of Virginia, New Jersey, and Georgia. Last arrest was in July 2021, Clayton County, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. That appears to be open. April 2021, Clayton County, battery, hindering person from making emergency call. That appears to be open as well. His last arrest in Virginia was in the 80s and New Jersey was in the 80s. So he just got those 2 open cases.
All
That's
right.
it.
All right, thank you. ASG Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on December 20th. Officers responded to 600 Greens Ferry Avenue Southwest, apartment 807, to an assault call and met with Ms. Kenethia Williams, that's spelled Kennethia Williams. Ms. Williams stated that she and Patterson were in a verbal altercation that escalated. Williams stated that Patterson grabbed her by her neck and threw her to the ground where she fell, landing on her 8-year-old son, who was asleep in the living room at the time. Williams stated that they continued to tussle for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Officers did observe a scratch to her lower chin, and she also suffered head and back pain. And Ms. Williams also stated that her son had some arm pain from when she landed on him in the fall. Your Honor, this is not the first time the victim or the defendant has assaulted the victim. This is their 3rd violent incident. In July of 22, after an argument, the defendant damaged the window of her patient's apartment. As well, in September of 22, there was another assault where the defendant beat up Ms. Williams. We were able to speak with Ms. Williams this morning, who's also on the call. She stated she is in grave fear of her life and safety. She feels the defendant will kill her. She's even more fearful now that he is arrested because she feels like he will retaliate against her, and she plans to file a TPO today. She does not want any further contact with the defendant, and she does not want him to return back to the address. Your Honor, for these reasons, as well as his other case that's open in Clayton County, that's another battery, a different woman, but this defendant has a history of violence towards women. And for this reason, the state is recommending a $5,000 cash bond, no further contact with Ms. Williams, 1 day of anger awareness, to stay away from 600 Greens Ferry Avenue, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, since the alleged victim is on, I would like the court to hear from her first, and then I'll go.
Okay. All right, Ms. Williams, would you like to address the court? You're on mute.
Yes, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand for me. Let me swear you in first. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead. You can put your hand down. All right, what would you like to tell me in it relates to your safety?
I do feel like Mr. Patterson might try to retaliate against me. He has continuously asked me prior to his arrest if I would show up. As far as, from my understanding or knowledge of that previous incident with the other young lady, he wants to try to keep contact to try to sway you not to show up, and I am definitely pressing forward with these charges, and I fear that he might try to retaliate since he can't control the situation.
All right. And as far as this Greens Ferry Avenue apartment, that is your apartment?
I am living here right now. It's not
okay.
my lease.
Couldn't hear you. What was the last part?
It's not my lease, but I do live here. I've lived
All right.
here.
Is Mr. Patterson's name on that lease?
No, Your Honor.
No. Okay. That was my key. I thought maybe both of your names were on that lease. No. Okay. But was he residing there with you?
Not technically. He was here almost every day. He'd only go home when we had arguments.
All right. And your 8-year-old son, what are his initials?
MW.
Okay. All right. All right. Anything else you'd like to tell the court?
Oh, Your Honor.
All right. Any cross-examination by the state?
No cross-examination, but I do want to mention, Your Honor, the 2 prior incidences that I mentioned, police reports were filed for those. So we do have a record of that.
All right. Any cross-examination, Ms. McLeod?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may present.
My client is 52 years old, Your Honor. He is gainfully employed. He's been employed by Georgia Tech for the past 4 years, he tells me. He and the alleged victim do not live together. He has given me an address in Riverdale where he resides with his brother. He is okay with no further contact with the alleged victim, Your Honor. He does deny the allegations, and he says that he was definitely not the aggressor in this matter. I know that the state is asking for a $5,000 cash bond, Your Honor, but I think that is very harsh given the fact that he does not have a significant criminal history. I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond, but if the court is disinclined to do so, a bond of no more than $1,500 surety. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. I am going to order a $10,000 surety bond. With that $10,000 surety bond, there's going to be a stay away from 600 Greens Ferry Avenue with that apartment number, and I did not write it down.
It is Unit 807.
Unit 807. I'm going to order no further contact with Kenethia Williams and no further contact with her minor son, MW. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that is all I'm going to order at this time. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you. Next case, yes.
Mr. Patterson, you have the right to remain silent, and I would advise you not to speak. If you have a question, you can call me after court, and I'll be happy to answer it for you.
Oh, okay, I don't have your number.
She'll
You
get
can
in touch
ask,
with you.
No
you
problem.
can ask the deputy, and they'll give you my number.
All right, thank you.
Position 10, Mr. Vaughn.
This is case number 23 CR 000-520A. Mr. Vaughn, you're charged with one count of battery family violence. The offense date is January the 24th, 2023. Pretrial.
This is fourth arrest. Last arrest was in 2015 out of Maryland. Assault first degree. It was dismissed. 2013 burglary in the third degree. That was dismissed. And a 2008 assault second degree. Reckless endangerment. I'm not sure about the he got probation for the assault second degree, so that was a conviction. This is first Georgia arrest.
Okay. All right, ASG Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred January 24th at 1040 Huff Road Northwest. Officers responded to this location and spoke with both Vaughn and Ms. Shakira Wilson. They are boyfriend and girlfriend. Vaughn stated that he and his girlfriend, Ms. Wilson, got into an argument that turned physical. Wilson stated that Vaughn punched her several times in the face. And Wilson stated the same, so they were fighting each other. Both parties had visible injuries. Your Honor, we actually heard Ms. Wilson's case yesterday. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Cloud.
Your Honor, my client is 40 years old. As Pretrial has noted, he has no significant criminal history at all. I believe he has one conviction, and that was some time ago. He is gainfully employed, and he tells me he's the father of 5 children. He also tells me that he is absolutely not the aggressor in this matter, that he was attacked by the cross-defendant. This apartment that he lives in is his apartment. It's in his name. Her name is not there. He doesn't want any further contact with her. In fact, he told me that he recently applied for a restraining order against the cross-defendant, Your Honor, because of her violence and the fact that she's always trying to fight him. Based on these facts, Your Honor, I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail and go back to his home and to his employment and to take care of his kids. Nothing further. Your Honor.
All right, yesterday with the cross-defendant, Ms. Wilson, what were the conditions? Do you all remember, or anybody have that information? I was
I believe somebody said no further contact, Your Honor, and my client is definitely interested in that.
Okay, no further contact. What about the apartment?
Yeah, I'm looking that up now, so hopefully I should have the information very shortly.
Okay.
It was supposed to be as long as he's not there, she can return.
Correct.
Okay.
But he's the one whose sole name is on the lease. It's his apartment, and he doesn't want her there.
Yeah.
And I believe, based on what I saw, that she was the aggressor, and the fact that she was arrested would indicate that she certainly had some significant culpability here.
Your Honor, I believe from yesterday, Ms. Wilson doesn't want to return either. She just wants to get her things. And the order on that was she can return to get her belongings as long as Mr. Vaughn is not present.
Yeah, I would have at least given her a police escort to go get them, because that still is a hotbed. It's not been, but a day or so. I want to make sure that she's protected.
My client would not object to a police escort, Your Honor.
And I will say the order is silent as to a stay away. It just says no further contact.
And I do understand again, and I guess I'll do the same thing with him, but order him to go back with a police escort as well. And I've usually said that, at least to get an escort, and then that person determined that the other person's not there, sort of taking it out of the hands of the two parties, but putting it in the hands of law enforcement to sweep the apartment and make sure that there's not, belongings there for the victim before he can stay there. Because I don't know if she needs.
My client is the victim here, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Bridgewater.
So should I put stay away until occupancy has been verified?
Yeah, I guess verified our occupancy of the defendant. Well, and it's not really him. It's just that it's sort of stay away until the verification that the victim has left the premises or doesn't occupy the premises. You'll help my words, but you know what I'm trying to say. Ms. Bridgewater is pretty good. She could translate for me. But we want to make sure that if Mr. Vaughn gets out on bond, that if he goes back to his apartment, which I'm assuming he will, that Mr. Vaughn, you're going to need a police escort to go back so that they can determine that the victim, Shakira Wilson, does not reside there, or that there are no belongings there of hers. And if the police clear that for you and say no, they'll do a report of some sort anyway, then you can stay there. But if they go back there and all her clothes are still there and it appears she still lives there, you cannot reside there. And then you'll have to make another appointment with them to go back in a few more days to determine that. Do you understand that? Okay. I see you shaking.
Your Honor, I'm just a little concerned because he's the one who's responsible for this apartment. He is on the lease. She's not on the lease. Her clothes could be there indefinitely. She doesn't have a police escort. So given the fact that she also has a stay away condition, it could get a little complicated. And I think it's important to determine who should live in the apartment. And since his name is the one solely on the lease, on the lease, he should have the right to return to his apartment, and she can have the right to go with a police escort to retrieve her things, because it could get complicated if they're going back and forth trying to determine who has the right to live there.
I understand. Right now, she has the right to live there because she doesn't have a stay away, correct?
Your Honor, that is correct. And my concern is, and I understand Ms. P.D. McLeod's concern, my concern is none of that has been communicated to the defendant, who was just released yesterday with no conditions whatsoever other than to stay away from
Right.
their bonds.
That is my problem. And I have ordered people to stay away from their own locations before in order to protect the victim. So I'm okay with that, as backwards as it may sound. But unfortunately, I guess if he doesn't pay the rent, then that'll take care of itself as well. But I am ordering that he not return there. Obviously, number one, by himself, he cannot. And number two, when he returns with the police escort, and there's students smart enough to determine whether it looks like a toothbrush is there or not, and whether there's one shirt versus 5 shirts or one pair of shoes versus 10. But even with that, the cops may err on the side of caution and say it doesn't appear she's vacated. Then unfortunately, Mr. Vaughn is going to have to find somewhere else to stay. He's working. Maybe he'll have to get a hotel until it can be safely determined that she has vacated. If 2 weeks from now still not determined, then Mr. Vaughn, you have to get in touch with your attorney to come back for a bond modification hearing of those conditions. But I don't want to leave it so wide open at this point that assuming that you're automatically going to live there without the police determining that she has vacated. And if not, unfortunately, you cannot reside there because I will not be able to change her conditions on her bond, without having her here in court. And so I apologize that it sounds confusing, but I want to make sure your attorney at least understands, because she will be talking to you to explain. And I apologize because I did not say the bond amount, did I? $3,000. Right. I'm going to allow a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Since you are working, so you can get back to work. And no further contact with Shakira Wilson, the cross defendant. And the conditional stay away from the 1040 Huff Road until it is determined that Shakira Wilson does not reside there, and that determination will be made by law enforcement.
Okay, Judge, let me ask you if this is okay with you. I put the stay away from that address until victim's occupancy has been verified. Is that good?
And say by law enforcement.
By law enforcement. Okay, so that's good enough.
I'm well, and you're gonna get me on this. You said victim's occupancy is verified. I need to say to victims, not her occupancy, to victims. This is not a word, non-occupancy, but give me a word, someone. Vacancy. Thank you. I know I was looking for a word. Till her vacancy has been verified, not her occupancy, because they may think she's supposed to be there. If she's leaving,
so put vacancy instead of occupancy.
Yes, ma'am. Let's use that word.
Okay, yeah. No problem.
Yeah. That sounds good. All right. Any other questions? No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I don't know if I said that.
Okay.
As well. Any other things, counsel?
Nothing
Cloud?
Nothing further.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All of my business is concluded for today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Have a good one.
You too, Judge.
All right. Yes, Deputy?
Yes, that's it in courtroom 2.
Oh, that's right. Our last one is a waiver, right?
Yes, it should be 2 waivers.
I do have them both.
Both, okay. 1 and 6. All right. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Good day.
All right. You all want to do number 1 first?
Let's do 6 first, then I'll run and go get number 1.
Oh, okay.
Please.
Yes, sir.
And I was about to make the same request, so thank you,
okay.
Mr. Howard.
Don't give him too much power, I tell you.
Pardon. I know Mr. Howard has to go over the history first. Sorry, Judge Minton.
Oh, okay. Let me call this one 23 CR 0000516B, Marcus Golden. Pretrial, what do you have?
6 total. Last arrest
Okay.
was in November at Georgia State. Trespass, that's open. 22 CR 007-830B is arrested in May for criminal trespass by the sheriff's office. 2020 trespass, Clayton County, that was dismissed. Before that was 05 trespass, dismissed, and the 05 marijuana possession conviction.
All right, thank you. Deputy Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This case involves the defendant being at the Gateway Center on January 25th, 2023. That's at 275 Pryor Street. Gateway Center Atlanta is, if Your Honor is not familiar with that location.
I am.
Okay, so I'll just move on. So at that point, Miss Webb, Tara Webb, Terra, stated that they were attempting to walk the defendant outside after he was denied services. The defendant spit in Miss Webb's face. This was witnessed by Alquin Chapman, who was a witness to this, and Mr. Chapman detained the defendant and placed a spit mask on him. The defendant continued to spit into the mask after he was taken into custody and taken to the jail. Currently, we're showing that the defendant's arrest in May 26th of 2022, he received a bench warrant on that case on November 9th of 2022. So he does have a dormant bench warrant on one of his criminal trespasses, which was at a Waffle House. The other criminal trespass was at GSU on November 15th, 2022, and he received a $500 signature bond. The state's recommendation on this case is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. However, we request that he be released after the BHET is completed. So we would like to make that a special request and a special condition of his release, that he stay away from the Gateway Center and have no further contact with Tara Webb.
Okay. All right,
Your Honor,
Dee Dee Kim?
no objection. We have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so we will do that. Ms. Bridgewater, $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Per judge, yes.
Per judge, yes. We will order that there will be no release until the BHET has been completed. Stay away from the Gateway Center, 275 Pryor Street. And no further contact with the victim, Tara Webb. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your
Nothing
Honor.
further from the state, Your Honor.
And now we have his, oh, is he back? He's not back.
I believe he is. I thought I heard him when he said per judge.
Pretrial? Mr. Howard, are you back?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was fast. I was waiting on you. 23 CR 0000428E, Robert Bates, one count of criminal trespass, offense date, January 22nd, 2023. Mr. Howard?
He has a lot. 59 total between Georgia and Alabama.
Okay.
He was arrested on the 9th of this month in Doraville, given false name. December, trespass out of Doraville. March, Georgia Tech criminal trespass and PI. Another March, probation violation. 2021 probation, another 2021 probation. 2021 obstruction, another 2021 probation. That's ag assault, possession of a firearm during the commission. Carrying a weapon without a license. 2020 theft by taking conviction. 2020 trespass conviction out of Doraville. Must be his stomping grounds. 2020 trespass arrest. 2020 disorderly conduct. Misdemeanor obstruction. Disorderly conduct conviction. 2020 simple battery in a public transit vehicle or station. Trespass. That was 2019 convictions. The ag assault was from 2018. You want me to keep on?
No,
And
that's
he
good.
he is on probation for that act or something.
He's still on probation for that.
I
Okay.
mean, based on the time, it would time out in July. That's 18 SC 163710.
Okay, that's good. Deputy Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened January 22nd, 2023 at the MARTA located at 70 Hamilton Holmes Drive. Defendant was asked multiple times to exit the train after it arrived at the end of the line at the home station. After multiple commands, the defendant finally exited the train but began urinating on the platform, at which point the officer took him into custody. They ran his identity and saw that he had trespass notice from the period of 1/4/23 to March of 2023. The warning, which was issued on December 5th of 2022, was issued by a MARTA police officer. The state's recommendation on this case is $1,000 surety bond. We did extend an offer, however, due to the medical resets, I don't believe, and based on the waiver, that anyone was really able to have kind of a meaningful conversation with Mr. Bates about that. We are looking, the reason for the surety bond on this is due to the multiple criminal trespasses and the multiple open cases that he has in Doraville, Georgia Tech, and the open aggravated assault where he's on probation, nothing further.
All right. PD Kim?
Your Honor, Mr. Bates is 62 years old and he is currently residentially challenged and he is not employed and he has a GED as the highest level of education. So he's qualified for our public defender's services. So we will continuously represent him. Currently, he has $1,000 good bond, but we would like to request for a signature bond for his criminal trespass. And as long as he complies with the suspension MARTA order. So we would like to request for that. Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, I will add, I'm not sure if this is one where BHET needs to be considered based on the history. There is, let me just be clear, there's nothing concrete I'm basing this on, only as my kind of training experience reviewing the police report and where the warrant and reviewing his history just gives me some concerns that maybe a social worker visit might be helpful.
PD Kim, any objection to a BHET?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I'm going to order that $1,000 surety bond, but the defendant is not to be released until he's had an eval with BHET. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the Hamilton E. Holmes MARTA station.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And
well, actually, Your Honor, can we just put that he must comply with all conditions of MARTA suspension? Because
I was going to say, because the suspension goes all the way to March.
And I'm not sure if the suspension is for Hamilton Holmes only or is for all MARTA.
All MARTA. And comply with all MARTA suspensions. We know at least until March 23rd. And we'll say and beyond or whatever to get that to be a little inclusive, Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. Anything else?
Nothing further for the state. Oh, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Oh, yes, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Got it.
And I think we're ready to go over the calendar.
Okay.
Are you staying with us, Mr. Howard? Or are you leaving us?
You know, I get off at 4:30, so folks get to 4:30 determines whether or not I stay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, let me hurry up before he gets off.
It's not even 4:45 yet.
I know, that's what I'm staying. I'm good.
Oh, you're staying. Well,
Yeah.
why can't we see you?
I'm here.
Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is February the 9th. Position number one. Position number one is going to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Position two is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position three is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 cash bond. Position 4, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 5, reset further notice with a total $1,500 SOB through pretrial. Position 6, reset further notice, $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. Position 8, SAP calendar with a $10,000 good bond. Position 9, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. And position 10, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
No,
Miss
Mr. Howard is going to talk about my dog, and I apologize. It's like, no, he's so loud.
What dog?
Uh,
I ain't hear no
huh?
dog.
It was very faint. I will give it credit.
You didn't hear it? Oh, good.
He
You all
tamped it
couldn't.
down quite a bit.
Oh.
I couldn't really hear him.
I was trying to, and you know, the crazy part is they're delivering across the street. So my dog doesn't want you to be on the block, not here, not across the street, not next door. I'm like, they're not even at my house. So she protects the whole neighborhood. Okay.
Judge, this is on its way to you.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right.
send you this waiver.
Oh, yes. And the what, you're going to send that to me? Okay. All right. Thank you all. See you guys
Thank
Saturday,
you.
I
Have a
believe.
good day.
Yeah.
Were you going to be here tomorrow or?
No, Saturday.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I will see you on Saturday.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
April, you're not kicking everybody out?
I'm about to.
I'll be